Behind the Hooks. With Manny DeGrandis. And Daniel Panetta.
We're back. I'm going to do what the I Have 100 show does. Open it on camera. Thank you to Market Brewery for these lovely ciders. Mm-hmm. We are both having the blueberry of the Ernest cider.
And it's wild.
It's wild. I haven't had this one yet. Cheers.
So, there's a lot happening in my mouth when I drink this.
Oh, this is the honey one. There's honey.
Honey, wild berry, blueberry.
Holy.
Yeah, there's a lot. Let's see what I mean.
Whew.
I wasn't joking.
Who needs coffee? So, what's new? What's crack-a-lackin'?
Well, not much. Not much.
Well, no, there's excitement.
There's it's the phone calls and the things, and I'm just waiting for the summer.
Oh man, yeah.
Till then, I just hang out and listen to Spotify.
Oh, summertime Market Brewery hangs, man.
Yep.
I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We're playing there June 3rd for one, so we're back there.
Oh yes.
For the summertime.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I just the gigs were so far away, and more canceling than not, and
well, even people that just aren't sure.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit like gun shy, right?
So I think I said yes to things, and I didn't even look at the dates, I think. I screwed up one of our...
What do you mean? Yeah, it's all good.
I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
But it's funny, right? Because I had a hard time keeping track.
Yeah, I'm empty. I got nothing. I don't even know if what I have is gone. And then, so, I don't know. I don't even want to spoil it, but going to Roatan was booked, a year and a half ago, and for a week, and I think just part of me just gave up that I was going until it got off on, I saw my Visa bill and they actually charged for the whole thing, so I'm like, oh, we're actually gonna go. You just have no hope for things, right? Like even, hey, we're gonna do a gig like 2 months from now. I'm like, sure. Don't even write it down because I'm like, is it gonna happen? Right? Like,
I booked a vacation. Sort of. It's just for a weekend. It's just the lady and I we're gonna take off for a weekend because
you gotta get
out of the house.
Where are you going?
We're just gonna go to Niagara.
Yeah.
We're gonna go hang out. We're gonna go to some wax museums because she's into that dorky stuff like I am, and some haunted houses and just be kids. And have a jacuzzi in the bedroom. Yep. Because that's what they offered.
It's the honeymoon capital of the world.
I love Niagara for that dorky stuff,
Oh, it's
so
cheese.
Fun. I love it. The wax museums, they look terrible, but I love them. The haunted houses are hysterical, and I love them. The food's awful, and I love it. Right across the street from our hotel's a Denny's. I'll take it.
Yeah. Good old Denny's. The only time I eat at Denny's is in the falls.
Yeah, we just need to get out of here. Like we haven't been. So she and I met basically during COVID. Like we started dating during COVID.
Yeah.
Our first date was one of your gigs.
Yeah.
God, we hang out a lot.
There's nothing going on.
But yeah, and we've been together over a year now, and I wanted to book something in between our birthdays. So I'm March, she's May, April. So we're getting out of here for just a couple nights. So I booked it, and just to get the hell out of what we just know. We haven't been on like a proper date like ever. I think we've been on one or two dates because it's been locked down.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to get to know my girlfriend.
Hilarious.
You need that sometimes.
You gotta go away. I'm seeing a bunch of my friends that with the same company are like away now or coming back, and it's like all of them are just like, wow, like really just because our gig is we're playing for the whole week, and if you want to come, just message me, and there's still tickets, I'm sure.
I'm messaging you.
All right.
I just messaged you.
And
This
you wanna
podcast
spend
is a message
a
to
week
you.
on the beach, and it's just like, yeah, like playing every night,
Not bad.
and sun, and like we because we're so stuck in this lockdown that it's the new reality and the new whatever that you don't even like, you can't even fathom like these going away things, right? Like I
Oh yeah.
like I'm starting to finally believe that I'm going,
Mhm.
and I'm still worried all the time.
Oh yeah, it's such a.
And that's what I hate
like a
about
guttural
it. How many
thing.
times I've gone away and all the time, and I never. This is the first time in my life I'm like, it's not gonna happen, or I'm worried.
You're sketched out.
Are we gonna get stuck there and catch COVID because someone's, and like all this scary stuff, right? Like, and which is so upsetting because like a week away, like come on, playing bass in the sand.
Hey,
I don't
man.
know, but so that's
Some
hopefully
weird
that's. I
times,
feel
man.
like that's gonna be a big turnaround for my everything, for my insides, and my looks. I mean, I look great in a tan.
You're one of those guys though that like you just have a tan all year.
Up until now, look at me, I'm so whitey.
You're still darker than me.
Whitey.
Like I usually have a tan all year round,
Yeah,
but I've
you're
been
tan well.
inside
Yeah,
for
I know,
so
that's the
long
thing.
that I've gone pasty.
This is the first time I'm pasty.
It's weird, right?
It's
We
terrible.
look ill.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Don't worry.
it's coming, man.
Keep watching. We're gonna
coming.
get better.
We're gonna
and
look
better.
better. We're gonna look
We're
better.
gonna look better.
Yeah,
We
I look like
got
a
it.
sausage roll right now. I need to get my shit together. Speaking of weird times,
Yeah.
this whole thing with the Rogan and the Young.
The young Rogan. Yeah.
Are we getting
What's
into
next?
it? Or should we get into it? Should we
Oh,
speak?
yeah.
I mean, because we're on the platforms that these
Yeah.
guys are on.
Yeah.
We should probably and the fact that Neil Young, he's a musician, not only a musician, a Canadian musician. And I feel like we have this innate thing inside of us where, we should be supportive of our brother. And at the same time, it's like, I don't really know if Joe necessarily did anything wrong.
Well, I mean, there's so many. Okay, first off, do you have a Spotify subscription?
Of course.
Yeah, me too. Why do you have it?
It's odd. When I did get it, okay, so the reasons have changed.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So I initially got Spotify because all my favorite artists were on there, and then discovering new music and being on top of new music around the world, but also to to listen to songs that weren't otherwise accessible without the platform or platforms like it, right?
Yeah.
Now it's more of I use it as a tool where, if I'm releasing things, it's nice to be able to preview my profile in real time. So I use it more as a tool now than I do a listening mechanism. Or sometimes, like family get-togethers, you throw it on, becomes the playlist for the night. Or you can curate your own playlist and do stuff like that. I like the options that way, but I don't go out of my way. And this is just because of the state I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very much a music listener right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just kind of basking in
Which is
not
another
listening
thing
to music,
Spotify gives you is the podcast,
which is what I do.
We're
listen to.
on, right? Which is amazing because just Google a name,
Mhm.
right? So, I was like, wait, like I wanted to see if I could learn anything more about Cliff Burton that I actually didn't know last week. And I was like, I Googled him, and then you could search under podcasts of people who spoke about him and stuff like that. So, that's kind of cool too. Yeah, like I got it. It's just so, I wasn't going to get it. And then I got it because YouTube, the commercials were getting worse and worse. Like, it's just the commercials drive me crazy. I'm like, should I subscribe to YouTube? And I'm like, I don't know.
Can I be a salesman? for you right now.
Yeah.
To maybe just skew you one way or the other.
Yeah.
If you do decide to like get rid of your Spotify subscription.
Yeah.
Let me be a salesman. So I will say wholeheartedly, the best investment I ever made was going YouTube Premium. Okay. Not only do you then have access to YouTube Music, which not only is everything you get on Spotify, but you have live videos that are audio, and you can save the MP3s on the YouTube app, on the YouTube Music app. So like anything that you want to listen to offline is now accessible to you offline. Live videos, everything that's on YouTube in audio form for YouTube audio. YouTube, the obvious perk is no more ads.
Yeah.
Okay. And endless play, you can turn your phone off and just listen to it as if it was a podcast, or keep it
and I think a lot of people don't know that, because I think people go and like, I didn't really know that, like all that stuff, because with YouTube you're just kind of like I know there's no ads, obviously, because they tell you there's gonna be no ads. You just kind of feel like there's gonna be all that YouTube baloney in the middle of it all. That's why I think people will go to the Spotify. I think people
There's nothing.
Spotify made it big because people are just so tired of Apple Music, right? Because it's like, oh, you have to download it onto your iTunes, and iTunes changes everything, and iTunes ends up disappearing, and it just iTunes just seemed like a pain in the ass. And then Spotify comes along, and it's like,
super easy interface, everything. It's dummy proof.
It's dummy proof. And then it's like, and you could share with your family. So now got it, and my kids have it because my kids love listening to music. So it's like, so now the whole family could share this account. They can listen what they want and then now they've got, I just feel like nothing gets in the way of it. Like where I feel like YouTube, there's always something in the way of it, either comments or likes and dislikes. I don't know. Like, I mean,
turn it all off.
You can, right?
Turn it all off.
And then is YouTube give more money to
the artists? Yes,
they do, right? Because
am I selling you yet?
No. Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I sign up, like, the one reason was the family thing, and then two was just gigs, right? Like it's so like cool to be like, okay, like you get hired for a gig, and they literally send you a Spotify list of all their tunes and their originals and or whatever, right?
I'm a sucker. I have both. So like it's like, the amount of subscriptions we have, it's like a bloody mortgage payment.
And that's what's driving me crazy with TV. Not that I want to talk too much about TV, but like there's Netflix and Crave, and everybody's brought up their game, and everybody's got something, and there's a Paramount now, and there's a like I'm Disney, and I'm like, can we just go back to cable? I was like looking through cable, and I'm like, where are the movies on cable? Back in my day, my child would have to get up. Yes, and you would circle what you're going to watch for the week. Yes,
I remember it very well. Or when it finally got onto the TV for TV Guide, you had to wait for the whole freaking thing to come back around to see if you actually saw what you wanted to see.
That was a rough. Yeah, that
because you got distracted by the little commercial in the corner.
That was a backfire. I was like, bring back the paper. Unlike other ones, but I don't know. Honestly, but yes, dude, but they pay the artists like crap. Now, this is the interesting thing is, like, when I first was hearing about it, and I'm glad it's coming back on the news because Neil Young brought it up. I'm like, when I first heard Neil Young saying, "Oh, I'm going up against Joe Rogan," I'm like, does he just want to get his shit off Spotify? Like, yes, is
probably
that, like,
because the whole thing, and you and I briefly talked about it because we like to save all of our dirty laundry for the air, is one of the things that I found with this is it became bigger than Young versus Rogan. Mm-hmm. It became Young versus Spotify very quickly because all the artists that followed suit, and it wasn't many artists, but they were prolific artists.
Yeah.
And that also pulled their stuff off of Spotify. They had to go through their label first because the label is the only ones that can tell Spotify to take the stuff down because the label owns the masters, right? Even with Neil Young stuff.
Well, there's a lot of guys that sold all the rights to their music even recently, right? So you're not going to hear of Tom Petty's passed, but was it Bruce sold all his stuff? Like, there's so many guys that just sold all their stuff.
It's real estate, man. Like they'll sell it to publishing.
The reason why you're like, why isn't that going on? Why isn't that going? Because I they might have just sold all their stuff. Because it was kind of a weird 3 months, 4 months, 6 months there that where people are just like, yeah, and then selling all their rights. Now they're in the
catalog purchasing and catalog auctions are just as in demand now as they were back in the 80s.
Yeah.
They're still so high in demand. Publishing companies will bid on catalogs of artists to put into film and television. You know, like it's a huge part of the music industry.
Huge.
But I think what happens in this circumstance with Neil Young had a good point, a point that he believed in, and that's something I can respect when you have a belief in something based on information. And you know, he didn't like the fact that Spotify was indulging or even humoring people who are either unsafe in terms of the coronavirus or just ignorant to a point of danger.
But I think YouTube is, would be worse.
100% they're worse.
Right?
They're very much more strict. Yeah. Spotify's a free for all. I'm going to be honest with you. It's like what Twitter used to be.
Yeah.
You can put anything on
there.
We're
on there.
We're on there.
You
but
could
like
literally put
worst,
anything on there.
like you could put the worst shit possible on Spotify as long as you have an artist profile or a company profile. It's fair game. It is fair game, and that's scary for one thing because things get convoluted very quickly and you oversaturate the market that way to a point where what is a genre? You know, nobody knows anymore. So there's that. 2, the reason why I say it got bigger than Young versus Rogan is because it shone a light on the fact that, you know, and we are on the platform, but I'm not one to speak timidly about this kind of thing because I'm very passionate about it. Spotify pays the artists like shit. Mm-hmm. Spotify, so per stream, we get 0.0003 cents on the dollar per stream.
Per song played.
Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good at all. That's dangerously stealing. Getting close to the point of stealing. Yeah. Because you won't see a dollar figure unless you have tens of thousands of plays.
But now the kids don't get it, right? Like, so like, you know, like a guy like Rick Astley, let's just say, would be like, yeah, like I know so many guys that were living off their royalties, Toronto guys that wrote some tunes and blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, they went from like, it just dropped, right? You hope if they're still on the radio and everything like that. A lot of people, that was their, you know, retirement plan, and as it should be, because they wrote a great song that's still being played. People don't get it. It's just like, you know, Metallica against Napster, and now it's Neil Young. You know, you're seeing the memes, right? And
it's happening again.
You know, it's
history
like
is repeating itself.
Yeah, it's repeating themselves, and then I just love how like Lars one day was just like, no, we're rich, we're millionaires. We're not doing it for us. Right, but there's always this like you get, I don't know, I haven't really spent too much time on it because I feel like a hypocrite for paying Spotify for it. I try to do the math and like their reasoning. So one reason I came up with myself, was okay when there was a time when you got a song played on the radio, it was a quarter, right. But now, so let's just say Q107 plays a song on the radio. How many people are hearing that song at that moment?
Well, however many people are on their ratings.
Right? So, you know, if you're getting your song played at 9, you know, let's just say 8:52 in the morning, everybody's like pretty close to work.
Prime time
right?
stuff, yeah.
You know, I don't know, 100,000 people? Whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So now when I push play, like I feel like this was their reason. When I push play on my little headphones and listen to the song, now that I'm one person, so I am, that quarter does get broken
it's
up
condensed
into that.
To you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of got that. that. Like, oh yeah, one stream, but you're one dude, or maybe 5 people at your house party.
But you don't have now the push of the radio station forcing you to listen to it.
Yes.
Which means
you
that
have to search for it and find it. Yes. So
which
there's
means
that
now
too.
it's a needle, not even a needle in a haystack, it's a needle in a stack of needles.
And if nobody put music on there, they'd have nothing. That's always my thing. But so now Spotify came out and everything. Who was missing in the beginning? The Beatles, Tool. I don't know. Why were they missing? They were just thinking, they don't believe in
Sketchy.
this. What do? They sign their own contract. They're not getting 0.003 per stream, right? So you're like, wait a second. The big boys didn't jump on this. Why is that? Because they're smart, right? So everybody else went
Well, also
on
their
there.
estates and labels were sketched out by it as well. You know, like you're talking about, you know, what do you mean? How do you gain income by streaming? How do you control that? How do you know that?
Yeah.
Like, is this peak a dollar figure?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to know? Or is it this the whole way through, no matter what the peak is? No. We're signing a $250 million deal, and you're going to pay us up front, and then we'll give you the catalog that we will curate for you.
Yeah. But I am, in no way, I'm just trying to, like, give some, like, I don't, the fact that Mr. Spotify guy, I'm not going to say his name, is a billionaire. That's the problem, right? So that's where
he's made money off of all of us.
So he's made money out, like, enormous amounts, more money than Clive Davis would have made. And you know, like,
isn't that sad?
That's the thing, right? So this guy just sat on his fucking ass, and people threw all their releases at him and their albums and all their life's work on there, and he's like made more money than like the dudes that actually went out searching and building and stuff. So no way am I ever.
We played right into the exposure shtick.
Yeah.
We played into it. We fell right on our faces and slid down the hill right into the exposure shtick. What I mean by that is, oh, you're not getting paid for this, but you'll get great exposure. Yeah. And it's like, that's literally the embodiment of Spotify.
I get when, you know, an unsigned artist or signed or brand new, or I get why they would put that on there. Like, I get, like, all that stuff always makes sense.
It is important. But it's an important marketing tool, but it's not an important residual tool.
No.
Because that's where your YouTubes, your Apple Music, your even Amazon Music comes from.
I just don't get how there's that many platforms and all of them have the Beatles on there. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, right? So now I want to see a movie. This is where, you know, I was kind of thinking, point. Right? I want to see Jaws 3, right? It might be on one of the platforms.
Right.
Might be.
But you know, this is the thing that's interesting. This is the thing.
I got to pay for that.
This is the thing that I think about often, and I think we all should. So if I want to watch a movie, I have to either be subscribed. Do you remember how hard they came down on piracy for movies?
Oh, yeah.
In the 90s.
Still do for some downloading.
It's difficult, but it's more difficult now because they're also accessible through your subscriptions, right? But think about this, right?
Yeah.
So your subscription network, which, okay, Netflix, just for argument's sake, rents the movie for a year on their platform, okay? And then they'll go through options after that year to purchase it for another year. Yeah. But they're renting it. They're only renting that movie for a year. They're paying big money to have that movie on. Yeah. So that way us who have our $13 to $14 subscription can watch it for the $13, $14.
Sounds like a deal, right?
It does sound like a great deal. However, do you remember how much it costs to rent a movie for a week?
$6.75.
$6.75 sure. For a week.
Pretty cool.
Times 52.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
All right. So it is a deal. There is a deal there.
That's as a Blockbuster kid, I thought this was a great deal.
There is a deal there. So why is it that Spotify doesn't pay us as artists to feature our songs on their platform? Because they're working for us. Spotify is working. It's supposed to be working for the
Supposed
artist,
to be.
but just like the movie industry,
Yeah.
the platforms are working for the movies instead of the other way around.
And then you see people are like, "Oh, why did Seinfeld leave Netflix and now go to Disney or whatever?" Like I think Family Guy did that. Money. You really want my product? I'm gonna, and so that's what blows my mind. Like YouTube, Amazon, all these guys all have all my favorite albums, right? I mean, and then I don't want to hear the record companies hemming and hawing because they've dropped this boat. I mean.
Oh, they had 40 years of fucking it up.
They had the chance and everything. They're like, Napster was a big thing. So, and you made a really good point. Like downloading, like I would illegally download TV shows,
right,
like a Dexter or something, because I'm not paying the fucking, whatever, right? So I did, and I would get notifications from Rogers saying, "Hey, you can't."
Don't do that.
Oh, I could download friggin' Led Zeppelin discography in 30 seconds, and I never.
You
got
can
it.
fill an external hard drive with music, and nobody gives a shit.
Nobody gives you a notification or a threat that you didn't do that.
But you know who does? YouTube. YouTube will give you a claim complaint because you are using copywritten music. I respect YouTube for that.
And it's you can copy music off of YouTube.
Yeah.
The YouTube to MP3, but it's been getting harder, and they've been getting which is great.
But what's easier, going through that whole process, downloading external apps to download your that song to your phone, or just fucking listen to the song on YouTube? Like,
yeah, or go in the record store and buying it, right? Like,
yeah,
I grew up buying and buying and buying. Like, oh my god, every weekend, every Saturday.
But at least with YouTube, I mean, it's a platform. It's doing what a platform's supposed to do. It's hosting.
Yeah.
YouTube has nothing to do with paying you directly. They're very upfront about that. Yeah. It's the ad revenue that goes into the commercials that are on YouTube and the premium members. There's a pooling of money that has to do with that. You are allowed to have sponsorships in your videos. You're allowed to do all those things. Yeah. You don't have those options in music platforms. Yeah. YouTube, for some reason, you gotta love Google for that. Okay, they figured that out. As much as they may not pay you an exorbitant of money, but it's more than you're gonna get on any other platform. Period. And that's sad. Unless they're downloading your music, there is an option. If you're putting out music, heed my word. If you're putting out music and you are looking to be a true independent artist and actually make a sustainable attempt at making a living doing this, then opt out of the streaming services altogether and just leave it to the download for play. Yeah. Just leave the option only for you can only pay the 99 cents for this song if you want to listen to it.
So why did... Because there was other apps and stuff. Why did... I'm losing... forgetting which one. But the ones that actually were all about the musicians never made it. Because they didn't have the money behind them.
You mean platforms? Like the other platforms?
Yeah. I forget what. Jesus, drive me crazy. I forget. Is it? It's just funny because like Spotify made it so big.
Yeah, and that's
because they had the money to make the ads.
Yeah,
and make the thing.
SoundCloud hurts.
SoundCloud. That's exactly.
SoundCloud hurts my soul.
Because it was all about.
It was the first one.
Yeah.
The first popular one.
MySpace was before that.
Yeah,
but that was all about.
SoundCloud was your own mixtape, man.
That was yours, and then for some reason they just like it's
their
still
interface.
there.
The interface sucked.
Oh, okay.
If you upload a song that sounded too familiar to another one, you got a complaint.
Okay.
It was very difficult at the time when it first came out. And, people still use it. It's a nice tool to have to direct people to your music without having to go through the fees. It is very much a mixtape central. Like you can curate your own, curate and create your own mixtape.
This is Bandcamp, which is great. They have no free Fridays for the longest time now since COVID started.
Right.
That's a great, but you have to like Google the band name and get to it.
It's all about accessibility.
And it's so upsetting.
That's
right?
what it comes down to.
And so that's why I got, and like I said, I've got no problem getting rid of it or whatever. But I mean, but what sucks is like, never in my life have I been so stuck not knowing what to listen to. Right, so when I go to my record collection, I go to my CDs, I go, and then I find what I want. I get a vibe, or I'll see like whatever Cream, and I'm like, not today, but Cream reminds me of Jimi Hendrix, which I want to listen to, or whatever. Right, stupid shit like that would happen to me all the time.
That's nice.
And growing up, like I was a friggin' record flipper. I think I already talked about this on the podcast, but just loved records, going to people's houses and flipping through records, blah, 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 blah. And it was my favorite babysitter. I didn't even have to listen to it, right? I already, so now, like, I don't even know who's on the album. Like, I've literally I go into used CD used record shops, used CD places, and I buy these records because Ron Carter played on it, or like I'm all about the bass player on it, and I'm like, I'll give it a shot. All that's gone. I think there might be now. I think they've started adding some of it.
They did, yeah.
But it's like I gotta go to Discogs to see who played on it.
You're not finding it on like it's not readily accessible. They're like they work more like credits, right? Instead of liner notes, right?
Liner notes are gone.
The days of thanking people for their effort on getting their songs.
No one will
out
ever get it. I probably have thank yous all over the place, but they're not on Spotify. No.
Right.
Right.
But the beautiful thing about you, and you know what, I will preach YouTube's, and not because I've been paid an exuberant amount from YouTube, but because they've protected my music.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that. I don't know. I think because because YouTube's free.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the people hate the ads, even though they say that you're going to pay for it. I think people, once again, it's like, well, YouTube's free, so I'll pay for Spotify. It was probably somewhere in my mentality.
Here's the funny thing, okay? If you get the free version of Spotify, there's ads, and you can't even skip songs.
Which is why you pay for it.
With YouTube, you can skip as much as you want when it's free. You just have to watch a couple ads during the video.
But the ads are out of hand now.
Oh, yeah, they're annoying, right? But the subscription for Spotify is just as expensive. The only difference is YouTube, you get video and audio.
You get video and audio. Yeah. The one real cool thing about Spotify, which helped out a lot of people, and I find this with my students too, is the weekly discovery. That's a helpful tool.
That's sick. YouTube, you got to get on YouTube.
You got to get on that YouTube. And
they have a version of it. They just need to do better.
Amazon lost all that too. They don't know what they're doing. Like,
I don't know what happened with Amazon.
Because the song ends. If you ask for a song, it ends, and then it just like that's it. Like
that's
all of a sudden music for the night. Like no, just keep going.
Keep going with have a
you listen to Neil Young, then just put another Neil Young song, and then put on
jump
another.
to Crosby, Stills and Nash, or jump. It's something that's even remotely close. For some reason, Amazon has the most beautiful interfaces and beautiful like screenscape and everything like that. The colors are gorgeous. But to use the thing, you think it's 1997 all over again. And to get what you actually want out of it, which seems like common sense, is completely out the window, okay? The audio surveying of the songs on Amazon Music is a lot richer because they were able to upload WAV files. They're able to upload instead of condense them down to MP3s, which is what you get on Spotify.
That's why it sounds like crap.
So, but on Amazon Music, you have the option of uploading stereo. You have the option of uploading, just so many different variations of options to be able to, because they have Bezos money to be able to host that, right? But their curation, like their, I guess, quick select or whatever happens after the song you just listened to and you want to keep in that mood, is just stupid. It's like if I'm listening to Just as an example, man, I got enough gas to take me to Pittsburgh with this stuff. If I'm listening to like Simon and Garfunkel, why in the fuck are you putting on like Daft Punk immediately after?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So their AI's got to get a little bit better. I think that's what it is their AI selections have to be a little bit more intuitive.
Yeah.
Anyway, first world problems.
Yeah. But they gave it to us, right? They gave
they
it, like,
fed
that's
us.
the thing.
We got spoiled.
Yeah.
We got spoiled with all of these things, promised other things, and it never happened.
None of it happened for anything.
As musicians that want to listen to music, I want to listen to music again. But I found joy listening to music when I would get something out of it on top of what I was listening to. There was something special about going and selecting a CD and finding a hidden gem on an album. Why can't I get that on a playlist? Why is a playlist 400 songs long?
And why does it always start on the first one?
Yeah. I just like,
oh my God.
it's
Google
and
Google
never-
play up
never ending
Yeah.
matrix of songs, which is Spotify, and all you're getting from it as of now, you and I, is guilt,
Yeah.
because we know that whoever we're listening to, we are a speck on a speck on a speck on a speck of a contributor to their success.
Yeah. But for my students who are younger and don't are brought up with this and grown up with this and everything, it's all they know, and they'll come and be like, I want to learn the song. I'm like, where'd you find it? And it was always through Spotify, as you know, they were listening to this person, and then it came up. So, you know, you just hope that the kids are listening to unsigned acts, and they keep playing unsigned acts, and then those unsigned acts get bigger. There was some cool things like Volpec, you know, did the, you know, push play at the end of the. They had
It was like a campaign that they did, yeah.
So push play, go to bed, push play, and I'll go sleep, and then they made a ton of money off of that, because everybody, because the song was 60 minutes. I forget the whole thing, because there's two people that did that.
Oh, smart as hell though.
Yeah, and then they made all this cash to play Madison Square Garden, which they made the DVD, and then they made a DVD of it, and you know, unsold that and whatnot. But now, of course, it's up for free on YouTube.
Because why not?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's all the record company's fault. Some of the artists' fault. It's the artist's fault who sold all their royalties to somebody else. It was just crazy to me that Spotify hasn't fully. YouTube will have more stuff that that I'm looking for.
Yes.
Than Spotify, which is crazy, right? Like the Paul Jackson bass players is one of his solo albums. I'm like, why isn't this on Spotify? So it's so weird. Like Spotify just like, oh hi, we're Spotify, and it's got all this stuff.
This should be the selling point for you though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Think about this.
Yeah.
Really, like just it's gonna click. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna do this for you. You can find something on Spotify or find something on YouTube and not find it on Spotify. But you can't. The other way around doesn't exist.
Never.
Because you'll always find it on YouTube.
You'll always find it on YouTube. So I think it's just that ad thing, even though it's gone. I think just people, and it's a website. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, I obviously
sort of like
right?
it's changed.
Yeah, it's
since
changed.
Google took over, and like it's been a long time since Google took over. I get it. Don't comment.
Yeah,
but because Google is the parent company, it's become more intuitive.
Yeah.
Like you can let YouTube run and not be disappointed. Yeah. Because it's gonna siphon through, and their AI is just, you know, they invented it.
Yeah.
Pretty much, all right? So I think that what you're looking for is more accessible on YouTube, what you specifically need.
Yeah.
However, the needs of those that you're surrounded by, so students and stuff like that, don't have the needs that you do.
Oh no.
So in turn,
yeah.
I get it, right? I have both.
Which is surprising. I'm surprised that you would have both.
I do. Well, one, I use Spotify, like I said, as a tool.
As your tool. Yeah.
YouTube I use as entertainment. I watch YouTube more than I watch Netflix or any other streaming service that I have. I watch YouTube.
YouTube's picked up their game with a lot of other things. If you're a subscriber, there's other movies on there.
Yeah.
Because they seem to have a lot of movies.
They do. And there's YouTube originals.
Yeah.
There's YouTube series.
Yeah.
You know, Cobra Kai started as a YouTube series.
Yeah.
You know, like now it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix? Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Or is it Disney? I don't even know. I can't keep track anymore.
And, it's just, they never, I don't know who does it, but no one ever listens, like Neil Young's getting his name torn apart, and, there's like memes of like an old grandmother with the original cell phone. How do I get rid of Spotify?
Right.
And it's like, and then it's like, keep on rocking the free world unless you're talking about things that I'm not agreeing with. And it's just like, the meme world, right? That's a whole other thing. But it's like,
YouTube I just find is my one-stop shop.
Yeah.
That's what it is for me. It's a one-stop shop. If I want to watch something stupid, or if I want to watch people failing, if I want to watch puppy videos.
But that's different. Yeah, exactly.
But then if I want to learn tunes,
Yeah.
if I want to listen to tunes, it's all there. I'm getting so much more for my $14.99 on YouTube than I'm getting for my $14.99 on Spotify.
For sure. 100%. 100%.
It's probably not $14.99 on Spotify, but
It'll be
the
up.
math, even if it's $6.99,
Yeah.
let's say.
Even six.
If it's $7 for Spotify, it's not worth the money.
Yeah.
Because for $14.99, I have not twice as much. I have 4 times as much of the entertainment and value than I would have got from Spotify, which means that Spotify would have to be $2 a month.
And they pay more.
And YouTube pays more, and they protect you better.
All right. Well, we'll take a break so you could sign up and unsubscribe
Oh,
to them. And
I need to start my car with
yeah.
this blueberry drink. Thank you, Market.
Woohoo.
See ya. Hey guys, Daniel here from Behind the Hooks. Just wanted to take this time to let you know about Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is who we use here on our show to distribute our show to all the platforms that we can, Spotify and all that fun stuff. Follow the link in the description and the show notes, and it gets you a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it helps support our show, which is pretty great. That would be nice. We use it. It's been nothing but great. It's super easy to use. The customer support and the help that I've gotten because I am tech dumb has been nothing but incredible. If you want to upgrade, Buzzsprout has tons of guides to help you find the right equipment at the right place. Just start with some gear, a quiet place, and you can literally upload a podcast from anywhere. You'll get real great looking podcasts because of the website. The website is super sleek and it's really nice. It's nice to have a hub for people to go to if they just want to listen to your show. It's not hard if you have the right partners. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. I've experienced this firsthand. We had a previous show that I didn't have access to, and I was worried about it kind of convoluting the market a little bit. So the fact that we can run side by side is absolutely amazing. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Your message is important, and Buzzsprout is here to help you get it out there. We use it, we love it, and we know that you guys will love it too. So, like I said, there's some incentives behind it. Go ahead and check out the link that I'm going to be putting in the description and the show notes. Now, let's get back to the show. On this day in music history, we got to go to 1994.
1994. Good year.
Oasis.
Good year.
You like my S's? They were forced to cancel their first foreign tour after they were deported from Holland. Can you imagine getting deported from Holland? How bad?
Of all places.
How bad were you that you got deported from Holland? Hi, Holland. The band were involved in a drunk, and by the band, we know. They were involved in a drunken brawl on a cross-channel ferry.
Okay.
You know how mad you have to be getting a fight on a boat? You know how angry you have to be inside?
They must have been drunk.
They were drunk. It was a drunken brawl on a cross-channel ferry, resulting in members of the band, just two of them, being arrested and locked in the brig of the ferry. You went to boat jail.
Boat jail. I've never been to boat jail.
You went to boat jail. How stupid. Oh, God, that's some Sesame Street shit right there.
Oh, man.
You went to boat jail. First of all, I want to know where this brig is on a ship.
Yeah.
Like, they have a holding cell?
Yeah.
Is this mandatory on every boat? If you work on like a cruise line
Please let
or a
us know.
ferry, like I want to know if the Staten Island ferry that Colin Jost and Pete Davidson just bought has a brig on it for people who are being unruly.
It's got to.
I mean, Staten Island, it probably does, but
Does it say how long that ferry ride was?
It says nothing of the length of time. But does that really matter? Does it matter that much?
It matters for like were they like in the jail when people were already off and new people were coming on, and then they were in the jail.
They had to go back and forth being on the brig. No,
like
I think they were on the brig until they got to where they were going, and then the authorities took it from there.
Did they have to skip their concert?
Yeah, they canceled it. They got deported from Holland.
Wow.
So I think I'm going to utilize this segment to not talk about Oasis, but talk about spousal and sibling bands. Is it a good idea?
Well, you just said Oasis, and how big were they?
They were huge, but they don't talk to each other anymore.
So it was a good idea for money and fame, but a bad idea for the family.
And at what point does one become more important than the other?
But when you said spousal, everybody thinks of Rumors and how great was that.
Fleetwood Mac, yeah, that album was an homage to a crazy triangle.
Yeah,
that was going on. Well, I guess it was a rectangle. I don't even know.
4 to the 5. Wow. But yeah.
But okay. So
were they all? I mean, even Aretha Franklin and her sisters, even though they were just backup singers, there was a lot of issues there.
Well, even Etta James falling in love with the head producer at Chex Records. A Rather Go Blind was written for him, and At Last.
So, it makes great music. So,
okay,
they're not my friends or family. As a fan, it's great.
Tell me as a musician. So,
it would suck. It would suck to be in a band like that.
Did you ever have a rule? Like that kind of don't shit where you eat kind of rule? Or did it never really apply?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, a lot of problems always end up with, like, whatever, 4 single dudes. And then there's a groupie or a girlfriend or whatever. Like that always, there's the whole famous story of, Axl Rose getting a BJ during singing Rocket Queen.
Oh, yeah, to Thing's girlfriend.
To the drummer's girlfriend.
Yeah.
It happens in hockey. Apparently that's why Al Frady got traded. So, I don't know. It brings on a whole. I mean, like Stevie Nicks is like, "Hey, Tom, can I be in your band?" He's like, "No, we don't have girls in our band," which was the greatest line ever.
Yeah.
And they had 2 huge hits. Like he had one, and whatever they split up the hits. It's just hard. I mean, it's hard enough being in a band.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the Oasis guys' problems are with each other. Like,
I think it was like a little bit more deep rooted than we actually saw.
Oh, they should never have been in a band by the sounds of it, because they had problems right from the get go, and then they fired like the other guys after album 2, and then hired new guys and did nothing because it's them two.
there's a two sides of the coin. So if we're gonna speak on brothers, for example, so the Bee Gees, they had their ups and downs. They broke up, they got back together. They broke up, they got back together. But at the end of the
Isn't
day,
that normal with most bands?
never mind sibling bands, just most bands do that. But at the same time, I don't think, like, now that Barry's brothers are gone,
but Barry talks so highly of them.
I don't think there's any regrets about
He's got no regrets.
their entire career.
He just misses them.
Yeah, he misses them because they're his brothers, not bandmates. Yeah. His brothers, where Oasis lacks that. There's not that brotherly love.
Is it one or both?
It's got to be. Oh, wait.
A lot of people blame Liam.
Yeah, because Noel is like
quiet.
He's
and the guitar
from an interview that I heard with him. I think he's more open to the thought of like just reconnecting as brothers, whereas Liam is like. He was a little bit greedy. That's what I got from that interview anyway.
Yeah, right. And it's like it's a singer guitar player, just like the Black Crowes, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Rich, seems to blame. But I could see some things maybe wrong with him too, right? Like just because you're quiet in the background doesn't mean you're not at fault.
Yeah.
Right, so
you're right. You're right.
And generally the singer's more, I don't know, flamboyant and hungry.
What are you saying?
It's I don't know, right?
Right.
I don't know,
right?
Right. And I don't know. I don't know. But there's something about
sibling stuff is
singing,
rough. I mean,
right?
look at the Jackson 5. Okay, the Jackson 5. The only thing that was holding them together was the fact that they were all terrified of their father. Otherwise, I don't think they would have went as long as they did. They would have all went off and done their own thing long before they actually split up. And but then would Michael be as huge as he was because he didn't have all that experience that he had so young, and building up and mastering the stage.
You get to pick and choose after, right? And
the Osmonds I knew had no choice because their father was taking all the money, and they had to keep working. Yeah. So sibling bands, like I'll speak. I would never be in a band with my brother, not because of anything, but it's the rule that I've always had. Yeah. Don't mix business with family. You just don't.
Would you? Okay, now would you start a plumbing company with them? I don't know.
Yeah, that's different. Like if I'm,
is it different? Because I know a lot of families fall apart
in the way that I work. Yes, because I would have to be sole proprietor. Yeah, I would have to be the one that I'd be majority holder. So, and which I do. Like my brother and I do have a company that we've started together, but we don't. It's not necessarily like I'm looking to him to make the decisions for the company. Okay. I need him to do certain things. Okay. So we're still partners, but I've taken majority of the company. So things like that I can handle. Maybe I'm a control freak. Maybe
you're definitely a control freak, but you're not out to screw anybody out on either, right?
Yeah.
Like there's the difference.
At least I know if I'm handling that portion of it, then
it'll get done.
He won't get blindsided of anything that gets he won't get screwed over.
Does he sing?
No, he can sing.
Like, have you harmonized with him?
Yeah, I've harmonized. He holds it. Yeah.
So you guys would sound good together.
Yeah, we blend well.
So yeah, it's because families, man, like, oh man, every time you're at a campfire and it's like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, like I think my brother and I have sung together twice. Okay. Just for for jokes or for family or something like that. I playing one of his favorite songs and I'll harmonize with him. I'll let him take lead. But
okay, so you harmonize with him.
Yeah, well, he doesn't.
But you can harmonize with anybody.
No, not necessarily though.
Well, like overall,
it's learning how to blend when you're in choir is like it's a tool you need, But with my brother, it's like I don't have to try because we're like it's the same. It's the same texture of voice, pretty much.
Well, funny thing happened. Or doing a Blue Rodeo song, and it's funny because they sing. They don't harmonize so much as they just sing at the same time,
It's
but
unison.
their voices are so different that sounds like it
Well,
works.
it creates a doubling texture, which is really nice. It's a nice layering tool to have. Singing unison, it almost becomes, it fills it a little bit more, like it.
But their voices are so different that it works.
Yeah, totally.
Like it sounds like a harmony. Like that's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool to find a non-family member to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't like. I mean, I don't know. I especially, maybe now it's different, but I know like, Liam and Noel would have been the end of like the real family tradition of things, right? Like now it's a little different, family doesn't mean as much as it used to.
You're right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think everybody's going to agree on that. Gone are the Sundays off and everybody hanging out. So
yeah.
I wonder if more of that could happen now without the consequences of like the Gallaghers
I think the deep rooted
and
issues that they must have had going into fame followed them. Money does not make those problems go away. It just it magnifies them.
It magnifies them fast.
Okay, so spousal. Okay,
I don't.
So you are now in a band. So you're the bass player in a band. The lead singer or guitarist is your wife.
No, you can't.
Does that ever work?
It can't. It doesn't work in porn. It doesn't work in anything.
Do you know how many times I've dated somebody and they've wanted I don't even date artists anymore. Like artists that way, like singers or people like gigging singers.
Yeah.
I don't date gigging singers. One, because there's this competitive nature that happens, which, competition is healthy. It is healthy, and it keeps you on your toes. But when I come home, I don't want to be in competition mode with the person I'm supposed to be in love with, first of all. Second of all, if I'm on tour, I don't want to have to be worried about one extra thing. Which is like,
but what if you
her fatigue or like her, and I don't want to have somebody else worried about me for one extra thing.
It's so weird because what if that was okay? So now what if you and your sister, let's say, had separate music careers?
That's different.
Or together, right? Once you said tour, because touring's pretty crazy, and it can be crazy in different.
Doesn't matter what genre of music you're in, by the way, touring is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you should go. I feel like a band should be but then you end up being brothers. It's hard. It's really hard.
Rather the brother you choose than the brother you don't, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of I don't really know enough of why they're like that. Like they're so angry at each other. I always think of them at Christmas dinner with their family. Like I'm like,
yeah,
like does that even happen? Like how much?
Probably not.
And they bought their parents' houses and cars and like
there is that mutual thing of like they have that in common, which is a life together before it all, which you'd think would be enough to fall back on and kind of keep your feet on the ground. But I get why it doesn't.
Yeah.
I really do get why it doesn't. Look, I like to consider myself to be like a pretty level-headed person, but I know when I'm on tour, the last thing I'm thinking about is that level-headedness because of the chaos of it all, right? I'm trying to keep my toes at least planted on the ground, but being on tour between the exhaustion, the not knowing where you are, the not seeing the light of day for some days, and like the amount of times that you do have off, it's like you're worried about being late for when you're back on. It's just a constant grind. I'm not complaining because that's the life I chose and I absolutely love it. But if I were to have somebody on the road that I cared about on a familial level, I think that would add to my stress. Does that make sense at all?
100%. Yeah. I mean, well, that's why bands break up. They can't, and that's why certain people get hired to be in backing bands and whatnot.
I don't want to be reliable for their liability. There. That's a bumper sticker.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want, yeah, it's a weird, it's weird. There's this cool Alanis Morissette documentary that just kind of came out. And she really talks about her taking off with that band and Chris Chaney and Taylor Hawkins and the guitar guy. I don't know who he was, but he's great. And it's funny because, she really was, you think of Alanis Morissette now, but she really was in that band. She really felt like that was her band, right? Even though they weren't even on the album, they were hired guns. But they were they toured that album like crazy, right?
Yeah.
And they played all the shows and the Woodstocks and whatever, right? And on all the festivals. And but then the boys just went crazy. They were young and and then she was like mad at them too, right? She was just like they offended her, right? So it's like, so the boy girl thing, even when you're not together, there was a pact that she wasn't going to sleep with any of them. And she goes, that doesn't mean that they didn't sleep with every one of my fans, right? Now,
right.
And then there's another weird thing of like, so there's like 3 dudes backing a female, and then usually with females, there's female fans. So she was kind of like she even touched on the fact that, they were with girls that there's just so many young girls, and then, and you just don't know. And there's just
taking
too much
advantage
of
of
that.
the fans.
And
way,
yeah, exactly. Right. She felt
and then
like,
that would then be like, that would be an image that would be poised on her.
on her, not on them.
Because like that's her image. It's her name.
It's her name. And all of a sudden, and then that also caused another problem because now like, we're a band of 4, but then it's only her name that's getting screwed over. Even though
dude, I get that.
So,
do you know how careful I had to be coming up in it, and like back when I was signed and stuff like that? How careful I was made to be.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and this is
pre-social media.
Yeah. Like
or at least
now.
strong social media.
Yeah.
So I remember being on tour back in those days, and like, on one hand, I was watched like a hawk.
Yeah.
On the other hand, these are the guys that were feeding me alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you can't get drunk unless you're drunk with us.
Yeah.
Or, you can't be with this girl unless it's the girl that we approve of.
Yeah.
You know how screwed up that is for a 17-year-old? Like,
it's very weird. It's all very weird, right? So,
and these guys are like 50-something years old, and it's like, why are you choosing the fun that you think I want to have?
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other episode.
But that's what I feel like, okay, for spousal, never do it. And I don't think it's a good idea. You're asking. Creative differences are one thing. Creative differences that you have to bring home with you is a completely different thing.
What if you and your spouse, and you played guitar and she played bass backing Rihanna or whatever?
So
we're do that?
Like
You're
house musician or studio session people
on the tour.
Yeah,
that's a whole different.
Well, yeah,
game.
because now it's a job. Like it's like
job.
working 2 cubicles.
Yeah. Right. I think always the hardest part is like the singer and the drummer.
But when you are the band, because I could always be hired out.
Yeah.
I don't have to be on that tour the entire time. I could have another gig.
But obviously, when the tour ends, and if she got hired to play bass on the next tour, and you didn't get hired to get guitar,
find another job, whatever.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's true too. But
is there animosity there? There might be a little bit of tender feelings for sure.
So I always find it. But I don't know. I think it's the making it big. Like, I wonder if Oasis would have been that out of hand if first of all, 94 was a different time. 94 was the same as 74. Like, the rock stars were rock stars then.
Yeah.
Not that it was a good thing, but now there's rock stars are not rock stars. They're vegans and they're fucking like it's like what the fuck? No one else drinks.
How many people do you think he just offended? Hold on, I lost count.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. But the reason why he's laughing is because
It's harmless.
It's all harmless. But a guy like, always is, like, oh man, first of all, you're just getting everything for free. And you're just being fed it all. And it's just too much, right? Just like there's like no, like the stories are just so amazing, right? Like you give whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. And and it's like, so maybe Noel was like, okay, Liam, slow down, dude, right? Like, because you're looking out for your brother, because maybe you're worried about your brother's just drinking too much. You're just like, fuck. Well, before we made it big, we used to get into friggin' fights all the time with other people because you drank too much. You said something stupid, and I'm trying to stop you, and then and then it'd be like, remember that house party in grade 12 and where you got my ass kicked, right? Like, it's all that stuff on top of who knows what else, right?
Fame and money magnifies it. So I think about it that way.
Yeah.
For any of those situations, spousal or sibling, or just familial in general.
Yeah.
In general, there's a lot of ulls that I just said, and I stopped myself.
Yeah.
But fame and money magnifies anything that you are bringing with you. So if you've got baggage with either a sibling or a spouse, and you decide that that at that point, or not decide, but at that point you start to get recognized for your talents and what you're good at, and no one's taking your talent away from you, because these artists that we've already mentioned are absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. However, if you're going on the road with unresolved issues, don't expect to last when that tour is over.
And people always think, like, no matter what band you're in, Maroon 5 started as a band. Like, there's this, like, it's always about the singer. Maybe with, like, Guns N' Roses, like Slash, and maybe with, like, Rolling
anyone that's got the
Stones
gimmick, right?
was Keith Richards, but it's still, at the end of the day, it was the singer still got more.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're in, a lot of these siblings, unfortunately, are a singer and a guitar player, singer and a thing. Right.
Do you think it's jealousy?
I think it is, because look at Van Halen, Eddie and Alex. I don't really know. And Eddie was a friggin' mess. Like, with the booze and the stuff. Like, why did they last so long?
Hold on. Because you're going into this. So as a guitar player, knowing that your brother or your sister is the singer.
Well, what's going to happen to Billie Eilish and her brother?
Well, I think Phineas is too nice of a guy. And he's already older than her.
Always?
Yeah, since the birth. He's already like
forever?
I guess that's how numbers work. But I think he's content with the position he's. I don't think he still gets like he does solo stuff when they're on the road during their shows. Like, he'll perform songs on his own, but I don't think he ever meant for the spotlight.
See, I don't know enough about them. I did watch her Disney documentary, and I like their stuff, and I know he writes a lot of the music, and
she's a beautiful singer. She really is.
I'm a fan.
She really is. Her songwriting, if she does this
cool
right.
About her songwriting is that it's like she changes modern, like she comes out with something, and then all of a sudden the world changes to her.
Right?
Right. And
Isn't that weird?
That's pretty cool.
Bowie had that.
Yeah.
Bowie
Yeah.
had that.
And the fact that you're saying both these names in the same sentence is like really weird, but we'll see what happens. I think
she has potential to be
Right,
the next Bowie.
I think she
I'll
has-
say that here. I'll say that she has potential to be the next Bowie if she does it right.
if she does it, but I mean, I don't know if people are even allowed to do it right. I don't know. I'd like to see how that relationship turns out. We know how the Van Halen brothers turned out. They kept friggin' going, and they did it, and then they threw friggin' Wolfgang, his son, in right into the mix. And I wonder if it's just because they had so much, because they already had someone to hate. They had David Lee Roth to hate, and they had Sammy Hagar to hate, and I wonder if that's it. Like the two of them are against someone. Where with the Black Crowes and Oasis, who are you gonna hate? You're gonna hate the singer, maybe, or
I think it's different with Dynasty projects. So projects like Van Halen or Earth, Wind and Fire, where it started with brothers, and now there's brothers and sons. Like Dynasty projects, I think are a little bit different because it's almost like a rite of passage.
Oh yeah. So by that point, if they
like
made
the
it
kids
that
are basically
far,
training to be
Yeah.
in the band because they want it. You know what I mean? It's not forced on by the parents or anything like that. Mind you, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but at least they're going on stage and like it becomes a Dynasty project that way, right?
and that's a whole different ballgame. When a kid's there, the kid it'll always be that thing, of like, I gotta listen to my dad a bit and whatever. Yeah, that's a whole
I think
thing.
it's very different parent to child.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be the coolest thing to be on stage with my dad if he was a performer.
Yeah.
That would be so cool for me, but I don't. Yeah, when it comes sibling and spousal, when it's linear like that, not like this where it's vertical, like father to son, mother to daughter, mother to son, that kind of thing. When it's vertical like that, I think there's a lot to look up to. And lead by example. Yeah. But when it's linear like that, who are you following? Who's
I wonder, I don't know, I guess Van Halen's parents weren't involved too much.
But
other than buying them the
Eddie
gear
was pretty square. Like he's such a music nerd.
And maybe that's it. They're both nerds, and then but I just feel like Eddie was a mess, right? He's a booze and everything. But I think they really spent. I mean, someone tell me differently, but I think they spent their off time separate.
Maybe that's the key.
And that's the key. Maybe you do that together, and then you do the off time separate, right? That's why I don't think spouses and stuff work, because like you can't be separate,
together.
right? Where you could have your families and whatever. Like,
Well, it depends how big your house is.
Yeah,
I think your spouse could be as far away from
because
you.
I don't even know I don't know, like, I don't even know if Alex Van Halen has kids or what. But then I know Eddie was with Valerie, and
Bert and Ellie, I forgot about her.
and that's where Wolfgang came from, and I don't know. Like, it's just I don't know. They worked out, and there's more. What about the Righteous Brothers? Like, you probably know more than I would about those guys.
I don't know a lot.
Yeah.
I know that
They stopped somewhere along the way. So was it the hatred for each other? The old Google Meister. I don't know. I don't. Maybe certain people have better upbringings. I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe just you don't choose to substance abuse and take it out on your sibling. Maybe that's the key, right? I think Eddie Van Halen was an amazing drunk, right? He wasn't a fighter, where Liam is a fighter. He's got that friggin' English soccer man in him.
Wow. So they broke up in 1968. Righteous Brothers, sorry.
Wow. Okay.
That would last more than 6 years. When Medley, because they weren't actually brothers.
Okay, so they weren't brothers.
Okay,
well, there you go.
Medley left to pursue a solo career.
All right.
Medley recorded a few solo recordings on several labels.
Who's the other brothers I'm thinking of? Man, I'm just obviously in that.
Everly Brothers? Isley Brothers?
Everly Brothers. Isley Brothers, are they really brothers?
Yeah, they were.
Okay. Sly and the Family Stone.
Were they a family?
They were. Yeah, they actually, yeah.
I'm just going based on the question you asked.
So, somewhere along the way, Sly, I mean, I don't know how he's still living, but he, he's doing his thing, and Freddie, the guitar player, is now a pastor, and he gave it all up. So it was like, and usually a lot of those born agains and stuff was because shit got real, and they saw the light and they jumped ship.
But look at the era too. I mean, like, I think that has a lot to do with what's contributing to the animosity of the relationships of the family. So when you have like the equivalence of Sly and the Family Stone would be like, I guess on the white side of things too, would be like the Nelson family.
Oh, the Nelson. There was another.
Right,
family.
the Nelsons were like a dynasty, like entertainment, like conglomerate. They did movies, TV, they did music.
Yeah,
like Richie Nelson was like the heartthrob of the late 50s, right? So
didn't one of them OD?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think most of them did actually.
There we go. There we go.
But back then it was different. It wasn't on like, the hard drugs. It was like morphine they got from their doctor or some shit.
That's still to this day. Yeah,
okay, so what do we get from this? It's not a good idea.
Not a good
Basically,
idea.
it's just not a good idea.
So you, as long as one of them's not the singer, let's just go with that.
Yeah, and then don't date your sibling. That helps too.
Don't date your sibling. Yeah,
you have to think about what I just
said. That's probably a big one. That's probably the biggest one.
That's a universal one.
Yeah.
And
on that note,
let's we gotta go to bed.
We gotta go to bed. But I never thought I was gonna be a cider guy, but this was
Market Brewery,
such a party.
Wild Blueberry.
I don't know how many of these in a row I could do. I don't know if I could do a 6-pack.
I don't do well with carbonated things.
Yeah.
If you ask my girlfriend, I tried bubbly. You ever tried bubbly?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't stop. It becomes like I got worried for myself because I couldn't stop burping.
Okay.
Like I got worried. I was
I
couldn't.
It's in the name.
I couldn't say like 2 words without like
Really?
I was like, what the hell is happening to me? I thought I was in like Willy Wonka or something. I was going to start floating upwards.
I get the reference.
Carbonation. It's nicely carbonated. I'm just a wimp. I don't know. I like it. It's great. The honey dulls out the acidity.
Yeah.
Really nicely. So, Market Brewery, Ernest Cider, family owned, blueberry, wild blueberry, handcrafted with honey.
With honey.
Thanks, Market.
All right. We'll
Thanks,
see you
Manny.
soon, Market. Thank Danny.
See you next week.
Every Monday.
I want to end the videos just by like doing like the whole
show the light show we want to do, but we can't do it because of editing. Our editors get mad.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Guys? Should we make it look like it's a bigger company than it actually is?
It's not a sibling because we've learned. It's not a spouse because we ain't dumb.
We ain't unsmart.
Yeah.
Let's just go. Let's go. We're getting to that point.
See
you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Behind the Hooks. With Manny DeGrandis. And Daniel